So just lift and roll the shoulders. And breathing in, raise the arms up, clasp and reverse. Just stretch up. Go from one side, come to the center, and go to the other side. Come to the center, palms together, come through the center, bend your knees, maybe have your feet hip width apart. Come to pressing your hands on the shins, half lift, so lengthening from tailbone to the top of the head. Breathe out, bend in, elbows and knees are bent. Breathe in, half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften your knees, press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And stretch your hands, arms up. And then lower your arms. Lift and roll the shoulders. Circle the arms up, clasp and reverse. Go to one side, come to the center, and go to the other side. Come to the center. Palms through the center as you bend your knees, bend your elbows, hands to the shins, breathing in, half lift, breathing out, bending, breathing in, half lift, and stay here as you breathe out. Breathing in, soften your knees, press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Breathing in, raising the hands up, stretch your thumbs behind you, little fingers and thumbs, so stretching your hands out, and then breathing out, lower the arms back down alongside you. Lift and roll the shoulders. Breathing in, circle your arms up, reverse the palms upwards, lift your heels, just test your balance. And then very gently lower your heels. Bring your hands through the center. Again, soften as you come to touch your shins, pressing your palms into your shins, breathing in, lengthening. Breathing out, softening, bending in. Breathing in, lengthening. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Raising your arms up. And then breathing out, lower your arms back down alongside you. Lift and roll the shoulders. Clasp your hands behind, knuckles towards the ground. Lift your arms slightly away from your bottom. Turn to the left, come to the center, and turn to the right. Come to the center. Separate your hands, raise your arms up, and breathing out, lower the arms back down alongside you. Lift and roll the shoulders. Breathing in and raise your arms up, reverse. Just slightly sway from side to side. Swaying palm. Come to the center, palms through the center. Once more, bending the knees, hands onto the shins, half lift. Breathing out, softening your knees. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. Press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Raising your arms up and breathing out, lower your arms. Either hold your wrists or your elbows, or if you can, reverse prayer, palms touched behind you. Try and have your elbows out, which I think is very difficult. Turn to the left, come to the center, and then turn to the right. Come to the centre. Release the arms, lift and roll the shoulders, circling the arms up. Come through the centre, hands onto the shins, breathing in. Breathing out, soften knees, soften elbows. Breathing in, lengthening. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, press your feet down as you roll up vertebra by vertebra. Hands up. Breathing out, hands down. Lift and roll the shoulders. Take one shoulder and roll it forward 3 times. And then roll it back 3 times. And then roll the other shoulder forwards 3 times. You can really involve your body, slightly twist it. And then roll the shoulder back 3 times. Lift and roll the shoulders. Breathing in, turn the head to the left. Working on the thyroid and parathyroid, turn the head to the right. Breathing in to the left, working also on the brain hemispheres, breathing out to the right as they coordinate. Breathing in to the left and breathing out to the right. Come back to the centre. So this one, I'm very bad at explaining, but hands up, hands behind, hands cross, hands behind, up, back, cross the other way, back, up, back, cross the other way, back, up, down, cross. So this is working on getting rid of any pent-up emotion, and my belief is that it works on the liver, meridian, liver and gallbladder. And then just make the next one, the last one, and just swing your arms. And then just step with your feet out, just go gently from side to side. And then start to slow it down. Come to standstill, lift and roll the shoulders. It doesn't matter which hand's on top. Imagine you're holding a big ball. I'm going to turn to my left, my right heel lifts slightly. I turn my hands upside down, so my left elbow now leads as I carefully carry my ball to the right and my left heel lifts slightly. Turn again, leading now with my right elbow. Doesn't matter if you've gone the other way. It's a slight mindfulness movement, and with any kind of mindfulness movement, you're disconnecting the brain from kind of thinking about much. So you're very much in the present moment of balancing your ball, balancing your weight as you shift from side to side, so therefore the pelvis. And then come back to the centre. Lower your arms, lift and roll your shoulders. Raise your arms to 30 degrees, thumbs out. And breathing in and out through the nose, sniffing the air in and out. Make it the last one. Breathing in, thumbs together, and breathing out, lower the arms. Lift and roll the shoulders. And once more, turn your head to the left as you breathe in. Breathing out, turn your head to the right. Breathing into the left, breathing out to the right. And once more breathing into the left and breathing out to the right. Bring your head to the center. Bring the tips of your fingers together, Hakini Mudra. It brings focus. Again, it brings you out of your mind, in theory. And then we're going to be coming to lying on the ground, knees bent, feet hip width apart, to start today's practice. We're all stiff here. I have too. On somatics. So it's loosening and it's softening the nervous system. So we're going to start with knees bent, knees to the ceiling, feet hip width apart. And when you're down, just carry on that theme. Your hands can rest palms down or they can rest on your abdomen. Just carry on with the theme of turning your head perhaps to the left as you breathe in and turning your head to the right as you breathe out. And you can linger, staying longer than one breath if you like. But as you roll your head, so I'm going to keep going, breathing into the left and breathing out to the right. But do feel you can linger. You're including now a massage across the back of the head. And somatics is all about feeling the movement. So if you're feeling it, you're beginning to take your brain out of the equation, which is restful and calming for the nervous system. Bring your head back to the center. Your arms stay the same, whatever's comfortable. Maybe shift your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. Again, adjust to suit yourself. And then drop both knees down to the side. Your left hip, or your hip will lift, the opposite hip will lift. Come to the center, it doesn't matter which way you start. Dropping both knees to the other side, and your hip will lift. So again, as you start to move to your own pace, drifting from side to side, you might feel that you'd like to move your head as well. I like to move my head slightly away from the direction of the knees. So as the knees drop, say, to the right, my head I like to turn to the left, but there's no right or wrong way. Just however you want to work for yourself. And you're massaging across the sacral area, and you're massaging across the top of the bottom. There's a massive acupressure point. Just getting into that area that we don't necessarily get to. And then very gently come back to the center. Maybe adjust your knees, your feet slightly to hip width apart. And this time, just let your right knee drop to the right. Bring your right knee up to the center and let your left knee drop to the left. Bring your left knee back to the center. And as you now drop your right knee over to the right, you might like to rock completely over to the right with both knees. Bring both knees up to the center, let the left knee drop to the left. And if your right knee follows that direction, that's fine, you're lifting your hip off the ground. And just a couple of times each side. Come back to the center and extend your left leg along the ground. And open your right knee to the right so that your right sole of the foot aims towards the inner left leg. It doesn't have to touch it. If you're doing this at home and you've got a cushion handy, or you want to do it for longer, then you can take support underneath your right thigh. So you'll feel, this is lying tree, your hands can be resting on your abdomen or palms down on the floor, and you can feel that you're opening out the hip on the right side, the right groin, that inner lower lymphatic type aspect of your system. So it really is a hip opener. Sometimes people don't like the feeling of opening the hips. It can feel very vulnerable, and in which case support under the right thigh to lift the thigh up a little bit can be helpful. But now just straighten your right leg as well. Just circle your ankles in one direction. And then circle your ankles in the other direction. And then come to bend up your left knee in the same way, lying tree on the left side. If you're being very yogic about this, you would extend your right heel to engage the muscles of your right leg, but that is an option. You're lying down, it's not quite so crucial to have that awareness. And again, you can feel the hip really opening on the left-hand side. And then very gently, you can take your hand underneath your left thigh to support it, to lift it up, and straighten the left leg out onto the ground. And just wave both feet from side to side. You can include higher up, almost rocking the whole body, just slightly from side to side. But the heels just rock slightly. Your bottom might wobble as well. And then you can open the toes outwards and then bring the big toes towards each other. So it's an invert-evert movement, out and back. I quite like to bang the big toes together because it's a kundalini, it sets up a vibration in the entire body, but you don't have to. And then just relax. Extend your right foot. Raise your right hand up behind you, bending the elbow and then straightening the arm out to however you want. You can keep the elbow bent. Stretching out on the right side, and as you breathe out, turn your head to the left. Breathing in and breathing out. Bring the head back to the center. Breathe out as you lower the right arm, relax the right foot. Extend the left heel. Breathing in, raise the left elbow, straighten the left arm, or don't, whatever, raise the arm above you. Relax the hand, back of the hand behind you, and breathing out, turn your head to the right. Take an in and an out breath here. Breathing in, come back to the center. Breathing out, lower your arm, relax the left leg. Bend your knees up again, feet hip width apart. Just do a couple of pelvic tilts just to warm the back up if it's stiff. You've been lying on the ground for a couple of minutes. That's flattening your back as if you're going to lift your bottom and then releasing so there's a little gap under the lower back. And then bend one knee in and then the other. So you're going to hug both knees into the chest. Holding both knees, circle both knees in the same direction. And you'll be massaging across the base of your spine. Around a small area. But as you circle round, it's like a massage. So when you release, there should be a lovely tingle along the lower back, and then circle your knees in the other direction. And then just gently rock from side to side. And then hug both knees into the chest. Let both knees, still holding them, drift away to arm's length. Hug both knees into the chest as you breathe out. And as you breathe in, just let both knees drift away. And just do that a few times to your own breath pattern. Working on the very first foundational energy called Apana, the Apana energy of the 5 energies. And so not surprisingly, this pose is called Apanasana. And there are lots of variations on this same pose. And ticking back to the Ayurvedic theme that we looked at yesterday, in Ayurveda, the Apana energy is all the way around the lower abdominal area. It's where energy can get stuck. And so this becomes a very pain-relieving pose, working on the Vata element of dosha, which is mostly air, or predominantly air. And then release your right foot to the ground. Hold under your left thigh, raise your left leg to the ceiling, circle your left ankle a couple of times, circle it in the other direction, extend your left heel, and vaguely point your left toes, not too much because you could give yourself cramp, but again just flex and point the toes. And then walk your hands up the back of the left leg, bringing your left leg towards you. And then soften, bending your left knee into your chest. Open your left leg to the left, by left knee to left, placing your left ankle on the right thigh, top of the leg. And then just gently sway your body from side to side, both knees sway from side to side. You can just lightly touch the floor with your palms down either side of you to secure you, or you can have your hands resting on your abdomen. And then support your left leg as you lift off your left foot. Place your left foot down onto the ground. Just sway your knees from side to side before coming to bring the attention and focus to the right knee, hugging the right knee into the chest. And then very gently holding under the right knee to extend the right leg up to the ceiling, extend the right heel, point the right toes, extend the right heel and point the right toes. And then begin to circle the right ankle a couple of times in one direction. And circle the ankle a couple of times in the other direction. And then walking your hands up the back of your right leg. You can still keep a bend in your right knee. Doesn't have to be straight. And then just very gently soften the right knee, bend the right knee into the chest, and open the right knee to the right, placing your right ankle on top of your left thigh, hands either palms down or on the abdomen, as you just very gently sway the knees from side to side. Your hips will lift off the ground, and how much you want to sway is up to you, and can be a little rock, or it can be a really quite significant, almost going right down to the other side. This figure of 4, this upside down figure of 4, so it's like an upside down pigeon, is good for opening the hips and targets a little muscle called the piriformis muscle on the outside of the hip, joining the thigh. I'm not great with anatomy, but this piriformis muscle is very key in restricting movement and lower back issues, and this is a really simple way to target it without getting into a complete pretzel. And then hug the right knee into the chest. Both feet on the ground, both knees up to the ceiling. And now we're going to focus on the upper lymphatic system as you just raise your arms bent at the elbows above you. You can hold the wrists or hold one wrist if you want to. Your arms don't have to be stretched fully out. Just take a couple of in and out breaths here. Stretching under the arm and switching, as I said, focus to the upper lymphatic system. Your lymph, as my understanding is, needs to be moved. And so anything on the lymphatics boosts the immune system. And then just clasp your hands onto your head. Your elbows will be out to the side like wings. And breathing out, supporting your head and neck, just lift your head up. Your tummy, if it domes, you've gone too far. This engages the abdominal muscles. And breathing out, lower your head back down to the ground. As you breathe out, lift your head and neck. You can bend your elbows towards each other, and you've got the option to slightly move to one side, say the left, and then come back to the centre as you lower your head back down to the ground. Let your tummy relax. And as you breathe out, tummy in, engage your perineum, breathing out, lift your head up. Elbows come slightly together, and you're slightly lifting your shoulder, go over to the right, and then come back down again. Once more each side. When you're ready, breathing out, lifting up, letting the elbows come slightly together, going over towards the left, your right shoulder will lift slightly, and then come back down to the ground. Cover. And then breathing out, lifting up, and slightly going over towards the right side, your left shoulder lifts. Release your head back down to the ground and slide the fingers from underneath it, almost massaging your head as you just slide the fingers out. Rest the elbows on the ground and the hands come up towards the ceiling as you circle the wrists in one direction. And then circling the wrists in the other direction. And then for anyone who's been working hard on Macbeth plays and using their fingers, just opening and closing the fingers in and out just to give them a little bit of movement. Good at anti-arthritis, preventing arthritis. And then just very, very gently release the hands back to the ground, maybe bring your elbows slightly in. Hug one knee into the chest and then the other knee into the chest. Slide the hands down to the ankles or above the ankles so that you're holding your shins or your ankles. And it's a kind of supine Baddha Konasana, although your feet are off the ground. Just stretching into the inner thigh again. And for those of you who have got long arms, if you haven't, just hold somewhere on your thighs. If you have got long arms, you can hold your big toes and stretch your legs via happy baby, but holding the big toes up to stretching your legs out in a V. But as I said, if your arms aren't long, then just hold on to your calves or shins just to stretch out like that. If you are holding your legs, you can just very gently rock from side to side or stay in happy baby. And then just very gently bend the knees, hug the knees into the chest. And we're going to come to rolling onto our tummies. And we're going to come into the somatic movement of a reptilian movement. So it doesn't matter which leg you move. I'm going to move my left leg because it's nearer the camera and you'll be able to see what I'm doing. My right hand is just bent at the elbow. My left hand is just up and out like an ancient lizard, and my left knee is up. And you can just rotate around freestyle, rolling your shoulder, rolling your body. It's meant to be a reptilian movement. Odd but strangely satisfying. You can experiment with how you want your arms out or in. And then just very gently come back to lying on your tummy. Straighten your bent left leg. And this time bring your left arm across you. Hope that makes sense. Bring you onto your fingertips. Bend your right arm, your right elbow, and bend your right leg. And just very gently explore your reptilian side on your right side. You can swirl up and down, you can swirl minimally, you can roll your shoulders, you can move any way that you want to. If you want to come down onto your hands, that's fine. If you want to come onto your fingers, that's fine. There is a theory that if you connect your fingertips and dome your hands, that there's more strength in the hand, but again, that's a theory for you to explore, just what feels comfortable. And then just straighten your right leg, come on into Sphinx. So onto your elbows. Just wobble your bottom from side to side, perhaps look down, just to lengthen the neck out. Tuck the right toes under, extend the right heel up to the ceiling, which will lift your right leg, and if you extend the right heel back, it opens you up at the front of the hips. And then just drop your right leg, relax your foot and wobble your bottom. And then extend your, tuck your left toes under, extend your left heel back. It gives a space, lifts your left leg off the ground, opens up your left hip, and then just release your left leg back down to the floor, just wobble your bottom. Just take an in and out breath. Any lying on the tummy, if you can bear it, is very good for weight, in that it just slightly flattens the tummy, and then of course when we roll off it brings blood back to where the tum's been, but anyway, that's a theory. And then just come to have one hand on top of the other, rest your forehead on the backs of your hands, widen your knees, and just bring your feet, soles of the feet to the ceiling, and just sway from side to side with your feet, either just like windscreen wipers, or you can just diagonally sway your feet from side to side. And again, you'll feel this opening you out at the front. Just quite releasing for the lower back. It should be quite pleasant. And then just to release the feet back down to the ground, you need to perhaps bring your knees in closer together. Release the hands and come back, hands by the chest, elbows slightly in onto the knees, to a tabletop position, as we just do a couple of classic cows, breathing in and rounding back, chin to chest, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Again, breathing in, looking either up or along the mat. Breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Come to neutral. This is going to be quarter dog, so right hand, come onto your right elbow, right hand goes across you, bottom stays up in the air, and you stretch out your left hand. Your left elbow can be off the ground or onto the ground. Rest your forehead onto your forearm, your right forearm, and just if you have your elbow off the ground, it stretches you out more on the left side. Quarter dog, you can just bring your bottom backwards slightly or forwards, just find your happy place. And taking it in and out breath, so you really are stretching under the arm, under the upper arm, and then stretching out on the intercostal muscles. And then just slide your left arm back and reverse, so your left arm goes across you, left elbow on the ground, and you stretch out your right arm. It can almost, it's quite a stretch, it can almost be painful because it's such an intense stretch on the right side. Slide your right arm back, and then we're going to be coming to before we come to sitting, I just wanted to come to seal pose, which you find very much in yin yoga. Lying on your tummy, hands out, and you come as low as you like or as high as you like, and your arms go as wide as you like. So you can just slightly go from side to side. It stretches you out under the ribs, under the diaphragm. So a lot of people get blocked there, for whatever reason, and that's quite a nice stretching. Classically you'd stay static, but side to side is also quite releasing as well. And just experiment with your arms. If you're tired, you can come down, you can bring your arms close together. It's quite nice on a wide movement, and it's called seal. And then just release, coming down. Come back via kneeling, and then come to a seated position. And we're going to come to Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. If Sue has any thoughts for the day, then she's very welcome to put in. So soles of the feet together as you sit, and hold your ankles, your thumbs, and now in a position to massage your inner soles. So I don't know if you've got any...
Well, we're concentrating on the lower lymphatic system when you were stretching out. So that area is the area around your ankle bones.
So ankle bones?
Inside and out, but obviously sitting like this, you can really only do it on the inside. So if you just make a small movement, pushing in slightly with your thumbs, just around all the soft area around your ankle bones. You can do it in a circular motion.
Oh, that's lovely.
And that's the reflex point for your lower lymphatic system here.
Oh, okay.
So it's on the inside, as I say, the inside and the out, but it's quite hard to do it for yourself on the outside. It's a bit awkward. So if you just do round circular motions, just as not too deeply, just around the ankle bone, that's stimulating the lower lymphatic reflex point.
That's very nice.
It's quite nice. Yeah.
Just, and I think also we ignore our feet sometimes a bit, because they carry our entire weight, and we expect them to just work tirelessly. And of course the ankle joints are then the next thing up that take our weight. And you've only got to have something out. There are 5 bridges in the body. There are actually more, but the 5 gateways, but as I said, there are more. But anyway, just for the main purpose, one of them is below the feet, and the next one's the perineum, the next one's diaphragm. But if your energy is out in any way, it will impact your entire body, almost from the foundation all the way up, which is kind of easy to forget.
Also, they say that you could never feel completely well if you've got something wrong with your feet.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh, fancy that. That's very interesting, isn't it? So just enjoy massaging your feet, and yes, just doing that. And then to counter that, just support your thighs with your hands to just lift your knees up, and just gently let your legs come out in front of you. Just touch your hands to either side of you to lift you up. If we're being very classic about it, you'd raise your arms up. Super classic, you come forward in a forward bend, but therapy-wise, you bend your elbows to take out the core strain. But either way, you're going to come to slide your hands down your shins, forward bend. Have a sense of lengthening from your tailbone up to the top of your head. So your spine lengthens, and then just release down. The way you hold is up to you. You can hold your shins, you can hold the outsides of your feet, you can hold your big toes, you can, back if you're very long arms, backs of your hands going like that, which is a bit of a strain for me, but just relax and release down. Forward bend just curves your back, so breath focus can go into the back. It's calming for the nervous system as the chin comes slightly to the chest, coming back to the vagus nerve. which is activated when the chin does go to the chest, the Jalandhara Bandha, which is an energy lock at the chin. And the forward bend is, yes, I mean, you know, a classic forward bend, you'll have these people just completely flat along the floor virtually, but whatever works for you. And then just very gently coming to a comfortable seated position, because we're going to finish with the breath work. This is very calming for the nervous system, and as such it's called moon breath or moon piercing breath, and I think the Sanskrit name is something like Chandra Badana Pranayama. So you focus, doesn't matter how you block your nose, but your right hand would block the right nostril and the ring finger of the right hand would block the left, chin slightly down. You are only breathing in through the left nostril and only breathing out through the right nostril. So breathing in through the left promotes the yin or the moon side or the calming side. So just take to start an in and an out breath. Raise your hands and block your right nostril as you breathe in. Block your left nostril with your ring finger and only breathe out through the right. Breathing in only through the left nostril. Breathing out through the right. I'll guide you one more time, breathing in through the left nostril, breathing out through the right, and carry on for a few breaths in your own time. Your other hand can rest, or it can be in Dhyana Mudra, the thumb and second finger together, whatever. In through the left, out through the right. When you can't sleep and you want to calm your system down, you might try this. In through the left, out through the right. We're only taking a little sample of this breath. If you're doing it at home or you're tempted to, you might like to spend 5 or 10 minutes longer. And when you're ready, release your hands and drop the count. This is just a taster. Come back to the heart center by bringing the tips of the fingers together, your focus at the heart, Hakini Mudra, but it's also very good for focus, concentration, which then becomes mindful, because you're not really thinking of very much while you're looking at your fingers. You might like to have a thought for the day, for yourself or someone close to you, wishing them well. You might like to have a thought today for your health. Anything, just put that thought there and just let it float away. And mentally repeat your intention, your sankalpa to yourself for a couple of times. And now let it all float away. Your intention for the day has been set. Release the hands. Chin to chest, taking a bow for yourself. Thank you for joining me today.